7 band versus label feuds. Not rumor, real fights over songs, money, and control. These weren't gossip, they were survival. Picture the era you grew up in. Warped Tour summers, MySpace plays, hoodies in every crowd, then pull back the curtain. The scene blew up fast, and so did the fine print. Labels picked singles, froze budgets, shuffled release dates, and sometimes buried videos. Bands pushed back, friendships bent, and lawyers showed up. Albums stalled, tours changed, and fans argued about loyalty versus leveling up. Here's what you'll get, point by point. Where each feud started, what the label wanted, what the band wanted, and how it ended. Clear origin, clear conflict, clear fallout. By the end, you'll see how these 7 fights reshaped the scene you still play in your car. Our first story takes us to Sum 41 versus Island Records. When the money stopped, the band paid to finish the record anyway. Island Records closed the tap while Screaming Bloody Murder was still in progress, telling the band the record was overdue and refusing more time. The sessions didn't stop. Deryck Whibley paid out of pocket to finish a song he believed in, Blood in My Eyes, and it made the album. The track later earned a Grammy nomination, which felt like payback after months of pushback. Release momentum didn't help. The band had been teased for late summer 2010, then slipped to March 29, 2011, long enough for buzz to cool and fans to wonder what was happening behind the curtain. The band's promotion stalled as a filmed music video for the title track Screaming Bloody Murder sat on a hard drive with the label never giving it a release date to properly support the album. Years later, Cone McCaslin said on camera he still has the finished clip on his computer and doubted it would ever come out. When the cycle finally ended, so did the relationship. Sum 41 completed their major label obligations and moved on. In 2016, they signed with indie Hopeless Records and released 13 Voices, taking the next chapter into their own hands. If a major can stall a finished album and bury a video, wait till you hear the sabotage claims that swirled around Fueled By Ramen and VersaEmerge. VersaEmerge joined Fueled By Ramen during the label's hot streak, dropping an EP in 2009 and the full-length Fixed at Zero the following summer. Fans tagged them the next Paramore, and hype felt real. Then the brakes slammed. Showcase invites slowed. Tour dates came from the band instead of label reps, and promo emails stopped. Former bassist Devin Angelito says the label starved them of support, that he was begging for $1,000 a month just to stay afloat, and that they were signed to protect Paramore's lane. The album they were building toward, Another Atmosphere, never materialized. Sessions stalled, and by August 2013, VersaEmerge left FBR. They re-emerged as Versa and self-released a 3-song EP to show they were still active. Devin later claimed FBR signed VersaEmerge just to bury us, protecting Paramore's monopoly on the female-fronted spotlight. Angelito also claimed tour pitches were ignored and promo budgets evaporated. He saw those decisions as part of FBR burying the band to protect another act. Scene forums lit up. Did a powerhouse imprint bench its act to protect an established star? Or was VersaEmerge simply caught in a marketing storm too big to weather? Whatever the answer, the debate cracked open long-running fears about roster gatekeeping and talent suppression. If you think whispered sabotage is messy, wait until a band sues its label in open court and calls the place a virtual dictatorship. Victory Records loved shock tactics. In late Feb 2006, around the release of If Only You Were Lonely, street team emails sent under the band's name urged fans to outsell Neo. Reports even mentioned hiding his CDs. The band later disavowed the message after the backlash. In August 2006, the band posted The Real Manifesto, calling the relationship abusive and condemning the Neo email as something sent without their consent. Despite selling over 1.2 million albums, they said they'd received no artist royalties, labeled Victory a virtual dictatorship, and filed suit in August 2006, alleging deceptive marketing and shady accounting. In March 2007, a federal judge ruled Victory did not have exclusive rights to Hawthorne Heights recording services, freeing them to record elsewhere even though 2 albums still remained on the contract. Victory countersued for breach. Victory wasn't done brawling. Next up, Thursday discovers that a whoopee cushion can start a war. Thursday was the thoughtful Jersey kids who turned Victory's gritty catalog into poetry, pushing Full Collapse past 300,000 sales while still hauling amps in a van. Fans felt the rush. The label smelled gold and stamped Thursday's name on every street team flyer it could print. Then came the whoopee cushions. Victory's promo crew ordered rubber fart noisemakers with the band's logo for Warped Tour, even after Thursday begged, please, no tacky gags. The label shipped them anyway. Trust popped for a simple reason. The band had asked Victory not to push gag merch. Full Collapse was about grief and survival, not pranks. When the label shipped whoopee cushions anyway, it told the group that marketing calls would be made without their consent, and that their image could be turned into a joke to make money. Fed up, Thursday jumped to Island Def Jam in 2002, but escape carried a price. Victory pocketed a reported $1.2 million buyout and forced the next 2 albums to display its logo, a reminder that the old boss still had claws. The stress nearly broke the group. Singer Jeff Rickley later called that era our darkest hallway. Years later, a fragile truce formed. Victory cut royalty checks on time, and Thursday allowed a retrospective DVD, admitting the label still owned key publishing rights. Even so, fans remember the feud each time they spin Understanding in a car crash. Next, a pop-punk outfit watches its sophomore record sit in label Purgatory, proof that even friendly Drive-Thru paperwork can turn into quicksand. The starting line thought they'd hit the jackpot when Drive-Thru's MCA distribution pact became a straight shot to Geffen. Bigger budgets, radio muscle, global reach, what could go wrong? Plenty. Their second album was written by late 2003, yet months passed in demo limbo while Geffen shuffled offices. When the band finally played the tracks, an A&R rep blasted New Found Glory's Catalyst and said, "It just sounds like this." Guitarist Matt Watts later recalled fighting tooth and nail to keep their voices. Frustration spilled into music. Kenny Vasoli's Inspired by the Dollar Sign jabbed at corporate meddling, and leaked basement demos fooled fans into thinking a rough sketch was the real record. When Based on a True Story finally dropped in 2005, Geffen barely pushed the single Bedroom Talk, letting momentum stall. Desperate for freedom, the band forfeited rights to the album in 2005 just to walk away, giving up their masters for a clean exit. Vasoli later called it the price of sanity, and fans aimed their anger squarely at the label.
My heart was racing like a sprinter.
If label neglect felt harsh, our next stop shows what happens when missing money and public callouts trigger a full roster exodus. Poison the Well helped put Trustkill on the map. The opposite of December, and Tear from the Red became scene staples and drew major label attention. Before album 2, friction had already surfaced. Trustkill objected to PTW releasing new material on other labels and tried to keep songs earmarked for Tear from the Red off external splits, an early sign that priorities were diverging from the band's. Contractually, drummer Chris Hornbrook has said the deal was 2 firm records and an EP, and a time clause meant that by the end of the Tear from a Red cycle, they could exit without breaching. In May 2002, the band's move to Atlantic via Velvet Hammer was reported, and their major label debut, You Come Before You, arrived in 2003. Leaving didn't end the headaches. By 2009, their Trustkill titles weren't being released. The band said they were already working on re-releases to get those records back in circulation. Later, Hornbrook was blunter on a podcast, saying they went through dumb stuff with that guy, and that Josh Grabel still owed the band money, and other Trustkill alumni publicly aired similar money in support complaints, further damaging the label's reputation slide. PTW's takeaway was simple: protect your masters, watch your clauses, and plan for the day you outgrow the deal. Next up, a major label tug of war where leaked demos turned a creative sprint into a slog. Brand New's first 2 records turned Long Island angst into cult devotion. Hoping to level up, the band signed into Universal's Maze, landing on Island Def Jam for album 3. Bigger budgets looked good on paper. The schedule did not. Slipped release dates piled up while executives shuffled offices and asked for radio hooks. Things got worse in January 2006 when 9 rough demos leaked online. Guitarist Vin Accardi said they felt robbed, so the group scrapped half the material and started over. Tours were pushed back, studio bills grew, and the album title, The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, suddenly fit the mood. Creative tug-of-war followed. Exec Luke Wood reportedly told them, "I thought you were going to be like Bruce Springsteen, pushing for bigger choruses." Brand New leaned harder into math rock dynamics, adding whispered verses and 90-second outros. Jesse told Drowned in Sound, "I walked into those meetings thinking I knew what I wanted, and walked out wondering if any of it was mine anymore." Meetings dragged, but the label finally blinked, releasing the record in November 2006. Frontman Jesse Lacey later said he'd redo plenty if he could. The major label spotlight meant constant meetings, A&R notes, and second-guessing mixes he believed in. He called the whole thing pretty intense, and wished he'd trusted his first instincts. The success felt earned, yet uneasy, a reminder that label timelines and notes can shape the final cut as much as the band.
So what did you do those 3 days you were there? 'Cause it's
7 feuds down, 1 truth left. Every battle carved real scars. Next, we tally the emotional fallout these artists still carry. Behind every lawsuit and leaked demo sat real people watching their dream jobs turn into all-night stress loops. Hawthorne Heights likened their contract fight to an abusive relationship, describing nights spent tallying unpaid units instead of writing new riffs. Thursday fared a little better. Jeff Rickley remembers label clashes that pushed the band to the brink of retirement. Their tour bus suddenly a rolling group therapy session. Devin Angelito says he begged Fueled by Ramen for $1,000 a month just to stay afloat. Proof that hype alone can't pay rent. Even Brand New's Jesse Lacey, fresh off a major label release, talked about regret over the process. He described weeks of meetings, A&R notes, and a demo leak that forced them to start over. He called the pressure pretty intense and wished he had trusted his first instincts. The pattern repeats. Creative joy morphs into burnout. Friendships bend under legal weight, and cherished albums stall while bills pile up. Some bands powered through, others split, but every scar changed how artists, labels, and fans talked about trust. Those scars didn't just hurt, they rewired the scene's rulebook. Next, we look at the legacy these feuds left behind and how DIY ethics took center stage. Out in the open, these blow-ups did something the music press never managed. They showed fans the fine print. Forums filled with threads about master rights, royalty splits, and the meaning of 360 deal. Topics nobody learned in homeroom. Young bands took notes and skipped the middleman, booking live room tours, selling their music straight to fans online, and hiring friends as publicists. A fresh motto spread: own your songs, own your story. Indie labels evolved too. The next wave copied Equal Vision's handshake honestly, offering shorter terms and transparent books. Service platforms popped up that let artists pick and choose distribution, merch, and marketing the way a diner builds a combo meal. The result? More music, fewer gatekeepers, and contracts that read more like partnerships than traps. Fans changed right alongside. Buying a record became a vote for fair treatment. Skipping one could signal protest. When a reunion tour rolls through town today, merch lines buzz with talk about who owns which masters and why vinyl prices spike. The scene that once measured loyalty in patches now measures it in percentages and publishing splits. A victory carved from painful lessons. You've seen how passion, paperwork, and power collided to shape every chord of the 2000s. If you want to dig deeper, maybe the wildest contract clauses ever signed, drop a comment. Smash like, hit subscribe, and queue up our next video to learn how one album leak reshaped online fandom forever.